Canada. Just the name brings images of endless wilderness, snow-capped mountains, friendly faces, maple syrup, hockey, politeness, and quiet confidence. Yet beyond these familiar stereotypes lies profound wisdom. A quietly resilient, community-oriented, polite yet deeply strong culture that Americans could profoundly benefit from today. What if, hidden beneath Canada's calm exterior, lay life-changing lessons America urgently needs, not louder or flashier, but subtler, gentler, and deeply human? Today we explore the powerful, practical, emotionally insightful lessons Americans could genuinely learn from ordinary Canadians. Lessons about politeness, humility, resilience, multicultural harmony, community bonds, nature respect, balanced living, and quiet confidence. 1. Politeness and civility. Canada is famously polite, not superficial politeness, but genuine civility deeply woven into daily interactions. Saying please, thank you, sorry isn't just polite, it's culturally expected, emotionally sincere, and socially respectful. In America, politeness sometimes feels transactional, limited, superficial, occasional. Public arguments, confrontations common. Canadians gently teach powerfully. Daily politeness builds emotional trust, genuine community bonds, healthier relationships. Imagine an America genuinely polite, not superficially, but deeply respectful, emotionally considerate, socially thoughtful. 2. Multicultural harmony. Canada famously values multiculturalism, not just tolerance, but genuine respect, appreciation, harmony among diverse cultures, languages, traditions. Differences celebrated emotionally, culturally, practically not feared, but valued deeply. In America, diversity, sometimes divisive differences controversial, cultures conflicted, unity weakened emotionally. Canadians teach powerfully. Diversity strengthens emotional resilience, cultural richness, social harmony. Imagine an America emotionally strengthened by diversity, not divided, but harmoniously united, culturally enriched, practically thriving. 3. Community spirit. Canadian culture deeply values community support. Neighbors help neighbors. Communities support vulnerable members. Crises faced collectively. Generosity emotionally natural, culturally practical. Individual success valued but collective well-being emotionally prioritized. In America, individualism sometimes isolates personal achievement prioritized. Community bonds weakening, emotional loneliness common. Canadians gently teach clearly. Community bonds strengthen emotional health, cultural resilience, practical well-being. Imagine an America deeply connected, communally not isolated individually, but emotionally supported, culturally bonded, practically thriving. 4. Environmental respect. Canada deeply respects nature, not scenery, but essential life source. Environmental protection is culturally prioritized, practically implemented, and emotionally meaningful. Conservation isn't controversial, it's emotionally essential, culturally responsible, practically necessary. In America, nature sometimes exploited environmental respect, controversial, practically minimal, emotionally disconnected. Canadians teach powerfully. Respecting nature emotionally strengthens communities, practically enriches cultures, ensures future sustainability. Imagine an America deeply respecting nature, not exploiting, but conserving responsibly, emotionally connected, culturally enriched, practically sustainable. 5. Universal healthcare. Canada famously provides universal healthcare, not political controversy, but cultural pride, emotional reassurance, practical compassion. Healthcare is universally accessible, practically reliable, emotionally comforting. Health isn't luxury, it's basic human dignity, emotional security, and cultural responsibility. In America, healthcare is sometimes controversial, politically divided, practically inaccessible, emotionally distressing. Canadians remind powerfully, universal healthcare emotionally strengthens society, practically protects dignity, and culturally cares compassionately. Imagine an America universally compassionate, not politically divided, but practically caring, emotionally secure, culturally responsible. 6. Balanced lifestyle. Canadians deeply value work-life balance. Leisure time is culturally essential, emotionally necessary, practically beneficial. Life enjoyed meaningfully, not endlessly worked. Family, friends, community emotionally prioritized, not sacrificed, practically or culturally. In America, work dominates emotionally long hours, limited vacations, and emotional burnout. Canadians teach gently clearly. Balanced life strengthens emotional health, cultural relationships, practical productivity. Imagine an America emotionally balanced, not overworked, but practically fulfilled, culturally enriched, emotionally thriving. 7. Resilience and adaptability. Canadians resiliently face challenges, harsh winters, economic shifts, Global crises faced courageously, communally, creatively. Difficulties emotionally strengthened Canadians, practically unified communities, and culturally enriched relationships. Challenges, not crises, they're opportunities for emotional resilience, cultural unity, practical creativity. In America, difficulties sometimes create emotional panic, practical anxiety, cultural division. Canadians teach powerfully. Challenges emotionally strengthen societies, culturally deepen bonds, practically inspire creativity. Imagine an America resiliently thriving through challenges, not emotionally panicking, but practically unified, culturally strengthened, emotionally creative. 8. Humility and modesty. Canadian culture deeply values humility, success quietly enjoyed, modestly celebrated, humility culturally respected, emotionally mature. Humility is not a weakness. It's quiet confidence, emotional maturity, and genuine cultural strength. In America, boasting is often rewarded self-promotion, loud confidence, culturally common, and emotionally superficial. Canadians gently teach clearly. Quiet confidence, emotionally genuine, culturally mature, practically meaningful. Imagine an America quietly confident, not loudly boasting, but emotionally mature, culturally humble, practically successful. 9. Education. Canada deeply values education universally accessible, culturally respected, practically beneficial, emotionally meaningful. Knowledge culturally valued, practically invested in, emotionally empowering. In America, education is sometimes controversial, politically divisive, practically inaccessible, emotionally uncertain. Canadians remind clearly, education universally strengthens emotionally, practically enriches culturally, empowers socially. Imagine an America universally valuing education, not controversial, but practically beneficial, culturally enriching, emotionally empowering. 10. Polite patriotism. Canadians deeply patriotic, not loud pride, but quiet, polite, culturally respectful, emotionally mature pride. The country valued genuinely, not divisively, but emotionally unifying, culturally strengthening, and practically supportive. Patriotism emotionally mature, not loud boasting, but culturally humble, practically meaningful. In America, patriotism is sometimes divisive, politically polarized, emotionally controversial, culturally conflicted. Canadians teach powerfully. Quiet patriotism is emotionally unifying, culturally strengthening, practically meaningful. Imagine an America politely patriotic, not divisively, but emotionally united, culturally strengthened, practically supportive. Final thoughts: quiet wisdom from a polite nation. So, what could Americans genuinely learn from Canadians? Daily politeness, emotionally respectful, culturally meaningful. Multicultural harmony, emotionally resilient, culturally rich. Community spirit, emotionally supportive, culturally bonded. Environmental respect, practically sustainable, emotionally meaningful. Universal healthcare, emotionally compassionate, culturally responsible. Balanced lifestyle, emotionally healthy, culturally enriched. Resilience, emotionally courageous, culturally unified. Quiet humility, emotionally mature, culturally strong. Universal education, emotionally empowering, culturally enriching. Quiet patriotism, emotionally unifying, culturally meaningful. Canada, despite stereotypes, quiet demeanor, gently offers timeless human wisdom America could deeply benefit from today. These lessons aren't Canadian, they're profoundly universal human truths, quietly thriving in Canadian culture. America, facing anxiety, weakened communities, loneliness, environmental controversy, healthcare distress, emotional burnout, cultural division, boasting culture, educational uncertainty, could deeply enrich itself embracing these gentle, quiet truths. Perhaps the wisdom America needs today isn't louder or flashier, but subtler, gentler, quieter, emotionally resilient, culturally responsible, practically meaningful, profoundly human. Perhaps America's greatest teachers aren't politicians, celebrities, or influencers. Perhaps our best teachers are quiet cultures, quietly living profound wisdom gently, patiently, respectfully. Canada gently reminds clearly, real strength quietly achieves emotion. Real diversity culturally unifies harmoniously. Real healthcare practically cares universally. Real humility quietly confident genuinely. Real education is universally empowering culturally. Let's embrace Canada's quiet wisdom not culturally, but universally. Let's strengthen America with deeper politeness, multicultural harmony, community bonds, environmental respect, universal healthcare, balanced lifestyle, resilience, quiet humility, universal education, polite patriotism. Because perhaps America's strongest future isn't louder innovation, faster technology, flashier celebrities, but quiet, patient, respectful, humble, emotionally resilient, culturally thoughtful, practically compassionate, profoundly human wisdom. Perhaps Canada's gentle wisdom quietly endures, patiently teaches, profoundly strengthens. And perhaps this gentle wisdom is exactly what America most needs today. Let's quietly listen, let's humbly learn, let's deeply grow. Because sometimes the loudest lessons aren't loud at all, they're quiet, gentle, patient, respectful, and profoundly, beautifully human.